Some places are lost because of natural disaster, some are lost to war, and some are lost because the areas around them need to expand.
That's exactly what's happening to the city around me. This is Doel.
Until the 60s, Doel was a regular Belgian city surrounded by flooded land. People went about their lives without much fuss, but that all changed when plans for industrial expansion came to light. Antwerp Harbour is one of the busiest ports in the world, and at the time was growing rapidly. Doel was destined to be consumed. This, along with the construction of the nuclear power plant, didn't leave the people much choice. In the late 90s, the police finally came and ordered the people to abandon their homes to allow for the port's expansion. Most did, but a brave few held on and began fighting for the conservation of their city. Through the years, there have been many different ways in which the remaining residents have fought the system. They allowed it to become a safe haven for street artists. They petitioned the government to cancel the plans, and now, nearly 30 years later, they are still fighting, and Doel has become a macabre tourist attraction. When I arrived in Doel, the first thing I noticed was that, although this is technically a ghost town, it's still monitored. There were barriers that went up at night, there were cameras on almost every street, and there were even security vehicles doing rounds every half an hour. It felt like the setting of a dystopian novel. When you add the fact that 18 people still live there, it feels even more weird. I couldn't imagine living my normal life in the middle of an eerie abandoned city. There were well-kept houses in between houses that wouldn't look out of place in The Walking Dead. Then, right at the side, there's a functioning church. It was closed when we went, but in the midst of this urban jungle, you see a beautiful old church complete with a graveyard that's still used for burials. All of the houses are supposed to be boarded up and clad with metal to stop squatters and vandals, but we found one house that we could get into. As we walked in, the first thing we noticed was how much it had decayed. The ceiling had come down, the bathtub had become a flower pot, and it was hard to distinguish between rooms. But at the same time, the windows still had blinds on it. It was very strange, and it made me wonder about the people who lived there. What was life like for them? How did they feel when they were told they had to leave? They had pigeon boxes in the garden. Was this a hobby or a job? I'm sure all of the houses left traces of the people that used to live there. It must have been hard to pack everything up in such a rush while being evicted. I thought a lot about the people of Doel as I walked through the streets, how it must have felt to leave your home, your community, and your neighbours behind. I thought about what the future might hold for Doel. There was some construction going on, and it appears as though there may be a new restaurant and an information centre built. Maybe in the future, homes can be rebuilt, families can return, and a new community can be born. But for now, Doel remains a time capsule waiting to be opened, a reminder to all to stand up for yourself, and for those brave 18, it's still home.